Happy Easter, everyone. The porch is in my living quarters today because it is 32 degrees out there right now with a chill factor of 29. My philosophy has always been if it is March and April and it is this cold, I want snow. But that's not going to happen. So we had a rather chilly Easter, but it was a very beautiful one. And my thanks to all the people who helped put that together. At the forefront certainly was Deb Rojas and her great team of musicians and singers, Tom Phillips, Mike Wallace, who did a lot of the background setting up, etc. Also Matt Mannion, who put together a lovely arrangement of having a movie set up and was able to live stream the vigil out in the grotto. So a lot of great people coming forward to make that encounter with Jesus Christ through liturgy very much a possibility. Second, this is the second of two podcasts that I had concerning a woman by the name of Angie Duckworth. Angie is a professor down at the University of Pennsylvania in cognitive skills and therapy, etc. And she was also working together with a guy by the name of Tim Beck. Tim Beck has some theories on what it is that we can do to make people thrive. And they were talking about what it is that people do and how circumstances can really affect whether or not people are more generous or less generous, as I said in last week's porch talk. Here's an interesting story. There was a priest who was supposed to escort Mother Teresa when she came to New York City and was going to give a talk at the United Nations. And so this priest was walking with Mother Teresa down the streets of New York City, and he said he was looking off to across the street and up at the billboards, et cetera, and all of a sudden he turned to his left, and Mother Teresa wasn't there. And he said he froze. And he looked behind himself, he looked to the left, he looked across the street, and Mother Teresa was nowhere to be found. And he said that this chill went up his spine. He said, I just lost Mother Teresa. And he was thinking, how am I going to explain to the Cardinal Archbishop of New York City that I misplaced a future saint? So he walked up and down the street and all of a sudden, very soon, came to a little alleyway off to the side, and there was Mother Teresa bent over a man who was sleeping, apparently homeless, and there she was talking to him and trying to figure out what she could do to care for the guy. Mother Teresa did this because she had two charisms. One of them is the charism of service. Service is a charism of people who see gaps that need to be filled, gaps of need. They don't necessarily have to be about people. They can be logistical gaps, they can be planning gaps, and the key thing about it, that people who have the charism of service fill in those gaps and they address that need by themselves. You combine that with the charism of mercy. Mercy is people who care for others, but especially people, like Pope Francis says, on the fringes, the poor, the needy, the most destitute. Mother Teresa had both of those charisms. The thing about those charisms that drive other people crazy is, if you have those charisms, like Mother Teresa, she saw this person and she cannot not help people. This is what she is drawn to. It's what is fun for her. It is what energizes her. It gives her life. It is oxygen. Most people don't have those two charisms, especially not in the way that Mother Teresa did. And so they find helping people and helping and reaching out to the poor somewhat challenging. And one of the characteristics of these two characteristics is, if you have it, you drive other people crazy who feel so guilty about the fact that you do it so easily and they find it really burdensome. And that's where I come to Angie Duckworth's and Tim Back's article. Tim Back says, everyone has a profound need to be accepted, respected, and effective, and connected to others. And those needs in your life lead us to an area where you can thrive if those needs can be met. And so he gives two pieces of advice, excuse me. One, don't dwell on the things you can't do. If you don't have the charism of mercy and service, the idea that you feel guilty about this and you feel you need to do this and you do it and you don't feel good about it and you're not effective at it, you're going down a rat hole. Let's say you have the charism of music. If you have the charism of music and you're trying to help people on the street, well, you're not exercising the charism that God gave you. And so that's really not what God is calling you to do. However, if you have the charism of music and you take your instrument and you go to a nursing home or you go to a shelter and you play music for the people that are there, now what you're doing is the second thing. You are dwelling on your best side and you're focusing on your charisms in a way that can eventually help the poor and the destitute, etc., etc. You will also feel better about yourself. You will feel energized and you will be effective in being a channel of God's grace, mercy, and healing to others. Right now, we're running a couple of sessions of Called and Gifted, and this is some of the things that are coming out. I thought it was interesting that Tim Beck and Angie Duckworth's article seem to parallel what we're finding in Catholic theology as well as in Catholic experience and in the scriptures. Once again, it's funny that the people here in the secular world eventually coming around to what the Catholics have known for literally centuries. I wish you a great Easter. I hope that you use your gifts and talents to the good of someone else, and that also somebody maybe does the same thing to you as well, and that your Easter season is one that is not only joyful, but also fruitful. God bless.